Hello everyone, my name is Peter Schaknat. I am the Managing Director of Schaknat Electronic GmbH, and today we are going to optimize a MB Actros 1842. A few basic facts about the rim truck. It has an OM471 engine with 420 horsepower and 2,100 Newton meters of standard torque. The engine range for the OM471 goes up to 12.8 liters and 530 horsepower. So 450, 480, 510, and 530 horsepower. That's great for us when it comes to optimization. Just to quickly go over the process, we will optimize it once again using the app as before via OBD connection. We will also log the ID for reference from the truck, then we'll do an initial measurement, optimize it, and then do a final measurement afterwards. We'll also be measuring it in four-wheel drive again today. So as I said, we're driving the front axle again here. My colleague has already set it up. We're driving the front axle again. Now we can see the eddy current brake at the back. We're measuring on the axle again today. The brake is gradually slowing down the roller again here. That is exactly how we take the measurement. This is a very good customer of mine. He also did the windows for us here in the hall, making sure everything was handled carefully. The company Fensterjäger also told me, wait, works great, a very good company. Just to add, we've now optimized all the trucks. It's also a topic for them now, saving fuel has become important. Because with the high fuel prices, as I said, every liter you can save is simply important right now. All right, I see. Back here again, we've secured the bottom again with the hydraulic cylinder. We've pulled it away at the back again and at the front so that it's properly aligned, so that it can't slip out of the rollers. Then I'd say, let's just do the initial measurement now and see what happens. So as I said, 420 horsepower for the original and 2,100 horsepower. Let's see what comes out of it. We're now doing the initial measurement on the truck. This truck doesn't have top torque, so we can measure 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th gear. Basically, it doesn't matter, it has the same power in every gear. There are, with many manufacturers, an 11th or 12th increased torque by another 200 Newton meters in that gear. For example, with Volvo Turbo Compound, they have additional torque increases. With 300 Newton meters, they increase the torque even further. That's not the case with this truck here. So now we're going to proceed as usual. I'll pick a suitable gear so I don't have to raise the top speed. Now I'll just accelerate, select the appropriate gear, and turn off all my traction controls. Then let's drive up and check in the mirror to see if everything's all right. The brake releases automatically. I also always shift up manually so it doesn't start shifting up on its own. You can observe it right here with the new displays from the Mercedes MP5. As I said, I really like the fully digital instrument cluster setup. I also drive a Mercedes and I think the displays are really cool. It's a matter of taste. But as I said, it's also similar to the passenger cars these days. So Mercedes has really done something right here. These days you can have everything displayed, all via touch. Of course, if I have a modular truck or something, it's not ideal, but as I said, for long distance transport, it's a pretty cool thing. All right, now we're in 9th gear. Now I'll go ahead and synchronize the axle again. Up there with the test bench. Synchronize the RPM to 1,000 revolutions. We'll do that quickly now. The principle is the same again now. It's always the same with the test bench, so measurement is based on engine speed. Now I'll break it down again to 800 revolutions and then spin it up to 1,800 revolutions. As I said, over the rapid acceleration, the torque, that's the only thing you can actually measure on a test bench. And by letting it coast down, I then measure the power loss, that is the kilowatt output. All right, then I'll turn on the fan. Okay, now we'll just go down here and set it to 800 revolutions. No. Now I'll stop braking the EKW. Now you can already feel how the torque builds up with the turbo and the engine. And then I gently release the brake and begin to accelerate fully. The MP5s now have noticeably better standard performance overall than the old MP4s did previously. You can see here, the RPM is high, up to 2000 revolutions. Then I shift to neutral. We've completed the initial measurements. You can see up here in front the truck. It should have 420 horsepower and 2,100 Newton meters of standard torque. In fact, it even has 20 Newton meters more torque. However, it only has 395 horsepower. But that's always the case because people comment saying it doesn't have its rated power. Sure, it has the standard torque, but the peak power up there where the power is measured isn't actually all that interesting. So what's important is, as you can see down low, it has its torque and it holds it nicely. It's important that when I'm shifting up at 1300 RPM, when I shift into the next gear, that it has its torque there, so it can pull out. And that's where the engines are fun too. Like I said, that's a good foundation to build on. The customer still cares a bit about performance, so I definitely want to have good performance. Since there are 530 horsepower engines, I'm now going to see that we optimize these 510, 520 horsepower ones. That's a good starting power, something you can build on. So now I'll go ahead, flash it via the app, and then I'll measure the output power. All right, see you in a bit then. We're now going to flash the ECU again with our app. As I said, we need our dongle and a phone. The new Mercedes models also have the OBD port down here on the right, just like the MP3s did. We open it up here again, as you can see, the OBD port, and we just plug it in again. The Bluetooth light comes on again. So basically, we've done it exactly the same way here as we did with the Scania. There are always two versions for the customer. One is the eco optimization and the other is the power optimization. And the customer can also revert it back to the stock condition. We'll also be adding transmissions again there. That will also be included in the next updates as well. I'm now simply logging my Mercedes out here again. There will be a separate video on the topic of Mercedes. About flashing, we'll show that separately again. But basically, it's the same as with Scania. Now you retrieve the identifier. We connect it again. Let's have Dunkel reconnect. Exactly. Then I'll go back here again to power optimization. Then we'll let it flash now. It's the same principle again. Don't walk away from the truck, don't answer any phone calls, just let it program through. Of course, if something were to get interrupted during the writing process, that would be bad. It has to be written through once so that the control unit works 100% again. I'm going to let it write through now. Just leave the phone here, make sure it doesn't turn off. With Mercedes, this takes a little while. It takes longer. With Scania, it takes about a minute and a half, that's it. With Mercedes, it takes about 5 to 6 minutes. That's why I said, let's let it finish flashing now, and then we'll move on to the output measurement. All right, see you in a bit. We've now done the baseline measurement of the truck. As I said, this is the boss, Sebastian Jäger from Fenster Jäger, the company that also did our windows. So Sebastian, just briefly about the measurement again. You can see up here we had 400 horsepower and 2,120 Newton meters of stock torque. As you said, we want to get close to that 530 model. The 530 model originally has 2,600 Newton meters, 530 horsepower, 497 horsepower, and 2,632 horsepower. So that's 400 Newton meters of torque. As I said, we've tuned the transmission for comfort so that the drivers can shift the e-cowbiz up quickly, saving as much fuel as possible and making it easier for them. Of course, it's 400 Newton meters more, so we'll really enjoy that because you'll have a significant increase in performance. I hope you're satisfied with the result. We've already done the other Eike Vespe as well. so far you've also been satisfied with the fuel consumption and everything else. As I said, I also have a little something for you, because I know your drivers like things like this too. Here's an air freshener. Okay, thank you very much. And as I said, for us, a sticker as well, a plotted one. Perfect, thank you very much. So thanks again. Great cooperation. Thank you, thank you. It's nice that we had another Mercedes on the test bench today. As you can see, we work on a lot of Scanias, a lot of beautiful trucks, many show trucks. But as you can see, we also work on completely normal tractor units or long-haul trucks. For example, from approximately 7.5 tons to 12 tons, within that range. It was quite enjoyable because, as you can see, even with an engine from the same series, you can still achieve very good performance and torque, all without increasing any wear. As I mentioned before, if you are interested in this topic, please feel free to check out our website at www.schaknat.de. You are always welcome to send us an email with your questions or give us a call at any time, and we will be happy to assist you. Send us a message via WhatsApp, or we can also advise you by phone. With us, there is always someone available who will listen and answer your questions. That's why we're also happy that you always diligently watch our videos, like them, and subscribe. So please subscribe to our channel and feel free to comment under the post about what you want to see next, what you find even more interesting, or what we should cover in more detail. As I said, thank you very much for tuning in, and see you next time. Thank you, bye.